My gosh, what a card. UFC Fight Night. Strickland versus Magomedov. Sean Strickland getting the TKO in round number 2. And I was legitimately thinking, originally, I had it as a 48-47 decision for Sean Strickland. At one point, I had it as a round 3, round 4 TKO because I was thinking Abus Magomedov throwing a lot of these flashy big shots was going to be gassing out in those later rounds. I did not expect that gas out to come in round number 2. I mean, it was literally 30 seconds left in round number 1, and I could see Abus gassing out in round number 1. You should never ever be gassing out in round number 1 of an MMA fight unless you get your opponent hurt and you are going all out for the finish in round number 1. If that's not the case and you're just like Abus Magomedov, throwing some kicks, throwing some good knees, some big shots, and you're gassing out in round number 1 from that, you really need to improve on your cardio. And Sean Strickland, we already know his style, the Philly shell, coming forward, putting on that pressure, and then just beating you in those later rounds. I didn't even have to go to the later rounds here, as Sean Strickland hurt him in the beginning of round 2 and just kept on pouring on the pressure like I pour that buffalo sauce onto my chicken wings. Sean Strickland, ladies and gentlemen, 26-5 now with a second round TKO. His last knockout win was Brendan Allen back in 2020. I do remember that fight, which is actually aging as a really, really good win in this middleweight division, as Brendan Allen is at number 11 in the UFC ranking. Sean Strickland is at number 7, and this man went out there, dominated, and knocked him out. He has that Nasruddin Imavov win. A lot of people thought he won the Jared Cannonier win. So there is that argument for a lot of people saying that Sean Strickland deserves to be that number 3 contender and possibly even deserve a title fight. Personally, I say the winner of Du Plessis-Whitaker would deserve it a little bit more. And, the robbery of the Jared Cannonier fight does change a lot of that, because you could honestly just put Sean Strickland after this performance. You could actually give him the title fight if they did not give that decision to Jared Cannonier in their main event. But it was a great card. I did mention it in the full card prediction, I believe. It might have been one of the other videos. But I did mention that this UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Magomedov, I did mention that it was going to be kind of like one of those cards where you look back in 3 years, you look back in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years time, and you look at the prelims, you look at the main card, and you realize just how many future contenders, champions, title contenders, all of the sort of things are on this entire card. So I'm going to look at the card, give my reactions to some of the results. I will be honest, I didn't really watch the Carol Rosa-Yana Santos fight or the Ariane Lipski-Melissa Gatto fight. I'm really not too much into women's MMA, but I will say there are a lot of MMA fighters on this card that could be contenders in their respective UFC weight class. So we're going to start with the bottom, Alexander Romanov versus Blagoy Ivanov. Take a look at the UFC stats, because this is not a normal thing from an Alexander Romanov fight. I mean, in round number 1, I don't think he landed one takedown. He shot one takedown. He did not land it. He had 7 seconds of control time in round number 1. He did get a takedown in round 2, did get a takedown in round number 3, but only could control it for a minute and a minute 43. This was not a signature Alexander Romanov wrestling and grappling clinic like he's been able to do at the beginning of his career, submitting Chase Sherman, TKOing Jared Vanthera, submitting Marcos Rogerio de Lima, and so on and so forth. This was a striking match between Blagoy Ivanov and Alexander Romanov, and Alexander was actually getting the better of Blagoy Ivanov in the striking, which is just crazy in my opinion, considering my man Blagoy Ivanov went out there and fought Tai Tuivasa and was able to outstrike him on the feet. I mean, we have a guy in Alexander Romanov who is really not known for his striking at all. Nobody thought he could have any sort of striking skills to match that of Blago Ivanov, who's not even that good of a striker. But he just outstruck a guy that has outstruck Tai Tuivasa in the past and outstruck Marcos Rogerio de Lima as well. The improvements that have been made from Alexander Romanov have been absolutely amazing. In the UFC rankings, is at number 14. He's probably going to move up to number 13, considering Chris Dawkins is moving to the light heavyweight division. He just beat 15, so he's not going to go to the unranked of the heavyweight division. I don't think they'll give him Jairzinho. I doubt Jairzinho would want to fight another wrestler and grappler. Derek Lewis does have a fight outside of the rankings over there. Marcin Tybura is going up the rankings. Gilton's going up the rankings. Spivak is going up the rankings. Got a lot of guys going up the rankings in the heavyweight division. So at this moment in time, Alexander Romanov is going to have to wait for an opponent. He's going to have to wait for maybe the loser. Just say, for example, Sergey Spivak loses to Cyril Gane on that UFC France card. Then we got a perfect matchup between Alexander Romanov and Sergey Spivak. Maybe they honestly put Tai Tuivasa, Alexander Romanov for the UFC New Zealand card they're planning to do later on this year. I don't know. They could give the loser of Curtis Blaze, Jailton Almeida's Brazilian card to Alexander Romanov. There's a lot of things they could do there, but he's going to have to wait. There's a lot of matchups that need to happen before they give Alexander Romanov another fight. For Blago Ivanov, I think he might get cut at this point. I mean, he's what, 1-4 in his last 5 fights, all 5 of those being decisions. Every UFC fight being a decision. They might just have to cut Blago Ivanov at this point, or find a good, solid up-and-coming heavyweight that, you know, matches very well against Blago to build their name off of Blago. But I think this is the end of the road for Blago, the guy that I meet in the pub, Ivanov. We had Luana Carolina, Ivana Petrovic. All right, I forgot to say, because I did want to mention a lot of these fighters' futures, because I did say, like I said in the other video, that most of these fighters you're gonna expect to be top contenders, title challengers, champions of their respective weight classes in the future. I wanted to just say what I believe the ceiling of Alexander Romanov is. He's at number 14. He's going to move to number 13, most likely. I believe the ceiling right now for Alexander Romanov as a 32-year-old heavyweight is right around number 8. Right around number 9 in the UFC heavyweight division. I don't expect Alexander to be a top 5 UFC heavyweight. But that just shows you how stacked the card is. A future top 10, number 8 heavyweight, in my opinion, is in the first fight of the night, which is absolutely insane. Next one, we had Luana Carolina taking on Ivana Petrovic. Ivana really did not show up for this fight. Her striking was looking a little lackluster in there. She really was not able to get off her wrestling and get off the grappling and submissions. She was attempting a lot of submissions, but she was losing those positions, and Luana was able to land some pretty decent ground and pound in the fight. If you look at the entire fight, Luana was actually winning when Ivana was initiating those clinch situations. She was winning whenever the fight hit the ground. For Ivana Petrovic to be the better wrestler and grappler coming in, Luana was doing better, landing more shots on the ground and in the clinch. And, of course, Luana Carolina was mixing in those leg kicks, was mixing in the body shots. The head shots were very even, but the fact that Luana was able to kind of mix in leg attacks and body attacks where Ivana was one of the main factors that led to Luana winning this fight. And this isn't one of those where I expect Luana Carolina to be a huge prospect coming up in the women's flyweight division, but she's not too old. She's 30 years old in this flyweight division. I would say her ceiling in this weight class would be right around, like right outside the top 15. Like right where Natalia Silva is at, Miranda Maverick is at, just right outside the top 15, but still a solid fighter to have as a second fight of the card. Ivana Petrovic, she's got a lot of things to work on, but she's got a bright future if she works on controlling the positions on the ground, if she works on mixing in those kicks, mixing in those body shots as well. I would say she has a pretty similar ceiling to Luana Carolina, right outside of the top 15. I do not expect either to really crack the top 15 or to become future challengers of their weight class, more like some of the other fighters that are on this card. Speaking of which, Elvis Brenner, ladies and gentlemen, oh my freaking god, this dude is the BMF. I mean, let me go on to my Instagram really quick. I posted this one like minutes after the fight was over, showing you that I do believe that this man is the real BMF. Elvis freaking Brenner is the real BMF. Sorry, Nate Diaz. Sorry, Jorge Masvidal. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. This man deserves it a lot more. I mean, I'm going to look at the UFC stats for this fight because it was an insane back and forth battle. Round 1, Guram Kutateladze. I don't know what's up with the stats here. I don't really believe these are accurate, but 30 strikes, 30 significant head strikes for Guram Kutateladze in round number 1. And then, what was it, 9 for Elvis Brenner in round number 1. And Guram was able to rock Elvis Brenner at the end of round number 1, clearly winning the first round. Round number 2 comes, and Elvis Brenner gets cut open pretty badly early on in that round with a big elbow from Guram Kutateladze. They're throwing. I mean, Elvis kind of hurts Guram a few times there. Guram is landing some really good shots on Elvis Brenner. They're both landing really good shots in round number 2, but because of the damage that Guram was able to inflict in terms of cutting open Elvis Brenner, landing some good shots as well, and I believe he might have landed a takedown. I could be wrong. Let me see. Yeah, he did land a takedown in that round and had 1 minute of control time. I did believe going into round number 3, Guram was up 2-0, and we saw exactly what Elvis Brenner did. In round number 3, he put on that pressure, landed double the head strikes, pressured forward, just kept on landing onto Guram Kutateladze. Guram attempted a takedown. He failed. He got rocked with a few shots, kept on backing up, guarding the shots, and then boom, right to the chin. Elvis Brenner bloodied up with a huge gash on his forehead and on the top of his head. Lands a big shot where Guram was gassing out a little bit. Elvis Brenner somehow showing Merab Dvalishvili cardio, showing Marvin Vettori cardio just to keep on going. I don't know where the cardio came from Elvis Brenner, but this dude could go all day long. Landed right on the chin of Guram Kutateladze. And man, that is fought the likes of Mateusz Gamrot and Damir Ismagulov and showed no signs of being hurt. No signs whatsoever. And in fact, Guram Kutateladze knocked down Mateusz Gamrot. Was kind of outstriking Mateusz Gamrot. And against Damir Ismagulov, that was a really, really back and forth close fight. And then we got Elvis Brenner coming in here and knocking him out in round number 3. Showing his cardio, showing his power, showing his toughness, showing that BMF attitude in this fight. And Elvis Brenner, I could say all of that and not even show you the fact that Guram was a 7-1 favorite. And even just that alone would be absolutely crazy for Elvis Brenner to do this in his second UFC fight, fighting a guy that has a win in the UFC lightweight division over number 7 Mateusz Gamrot, only losing to number 12 Damir Ismagulov. I could say all of that and you could be like, wow. But the fact that Elvis Brenner was a 7-1 underdog and 25 years of age is astonishing, in my opinion. I mean, before that, he beat Zubair Tukhugov on short notice by split decision, which was a very, very good win for him. He's never been finished. 3 losses, and they've all been decision losses. Again, the dude is 25 years old. The only other young, up-and-coming lightweight inside of the top 15 right now, up-and-coming, is Arman Tsarukyan, and this dude is 26 years of age. We go down the list to find any other younger up-and-coming lightweights. We got Patty there maybe. We got, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's literally Arman Tsarukyan and Elvis Brenner. Elvis Brenner just put himself on the map in the UFC's lightweight division, beating number 20, Guram Kutateladze. That puts him just right in line for a ranking fight. That puts him right in line to be ranked in the UFC lightweight division. And I got a couple fights in mind for him. Because right now, he just beat Guram Kutateladze. Grant Dawson just beat number 12, Damir Ismagulov. I'm assuming Damir is probably going to retire. And number 15 will probably be filled by maybe Thiago Moises, maybe Drew Dober, Dan Hooker maybe. It could be filled by any number of one of these guys. I would like a fight for Elvis Brenner with the winner of Mark Diakiese and Joel Alvarez, because the winner of this fight's also going to be right outside of the top 15. I don't know why they're on the prelims of the UFC Fight Night. Aspinall Tybura. Ask someone else. I don't know what's up with that. But I'd love to see an Elvis Brenner Mark Diakiese fight. That'd be a banger. An Elvis Brenner Joel Alvarez fight would also be a banger, considering Alvarez is coming off a loss to Arman Tsarukyan and Mark Diakiese is coming off a loss to Michael Johnson. If either of these guys gets the win, they put them against Elvis Brenner on the main card of a UFC Fight Night. And the winner of that, I believe, would probably be right in line for a UFC rankings fight. Not very high, but against whoever's around that number 15, number 14 range. And I've been doing this on all of these. What do I think the ceiling of Elvis Brenner is? Well, it's very high because he's 25 years old. He's training with Charles do Bronx Oliveira at Chute Boxe Diego Lima gym. This dude is 25 years old, which is the craziest thing about all of this. Again, Arman Tsarukyan's the only other young guy in this weight class, and I'm going to be honest, this might be a little bit presumptuous, a little bit too early to tell for a guy like Elvis Brenner, but I'd say the ceiling for me on Elvis Brenner is going to be number 4, number 3 in the UFC lightweight division, challenging for a belt, challenging for a number 1 contender fight, and losing. That is where I see the ceiling of Elvis Brenner. I believe he could possibly get to the point where he's fighting for the UFC lightweight belt, or right inside of that top 5. For Guram Kutateladze, he is 31 years old, but that's 2 losses in a row. That's 2 losses in a row right there, and I do believe he will find a way to crack his way back inside of the top 15 at one point or another. But I think he's going to have to go back to fighting a few more lesser-known, unranked fighters, get 2 wins, 3 wins, then put himself back into the top 15. And that's where I see his ceiling. I don't believe he's going to go out there and make a run of the title, top 5, top 10, especially after that performance. I do believe he'll crack the top 15 at one point or another. But wow, we got a prospect on our hands in Elvis Brenner. A future top 5 or title challenger, in my opinion, right there. Chute Boxing, Charles Oliveira has a new mini-me here in Elvis Brenner. Next one was Carol Rosa, and Yana Santos. I already told you guys I did not watch the fight. I will say Yana Santos, her ceiling is right where she is at now. In the women's bantamweight division, she is at number 6. That is her ceiling. I don't believe she's going to get any higher because she's going to move down to like number 8, number 9. Carol Hossa is going to move up. I believe Carol Hossa's ceiling is around number 3, number 4. In the bantamweight division, she might get a main event fight. I hope not. I really, really do hope not. But I think she'll probably lose to the upper echelon of the bantamweight division. Again, I didn't really watch this fight. I knew it was going to be a barn burner in the featherweight division. Come on, guys. There's no need to watch that type of a fight. Next one in the featherweight division, just pure and utter smash. Weston Wilson, we kind of all knew what he was going in there to do. He's 34 years old. We knew he was going to get knocked out or submitted in round 1. He got knocked out. Did attempt a submission. I think the future of Weston Wilson, his ceiling is to lose one more fight in the UFC, get cut, and have a nice regional career outside of the UFC. Now for Joanderson Brito, Going out there, landing a big shot, pressuring the karate stance fighter of Weston Wilson, rocking him on the feet. Weston looking to land the knee bar after Joe Anderson Brito lands a takedown. Joe Anderson lands a few good ground and pound shots. Weston gets the knee bar kind of tight, kind of a little bit tight there, and Joe Anderson's able to land devastating ground and pound, kind of Ilya Topuria, Ryan Hall-esque. In the beginning and towards the middle of round number 1, and he was able to finish him. And right now, Joe Anderson Brito is definitely a future top 15 guy. The reason being, right now in the top 15, Dan Ige, I would actually expect to be a relatively close fight. I would go Dan Ige to win against anyone in the top 15. Like, we could just check out the rankings right now. Let's go up to featherweight. Caceres, Barboza, Dan Ige, Bryce Mitchell, Sadiq Yusuf. Pretty much all of these guys I would have beating Joe Anderson Brito at this point in his MMA career. Edson Barboza, I believe Joe Anderson has a very good shot of beating. That is why I do suggest that as a fight, Joe Anderson Brito versus Edson Barboza for the UFC Brazil card coming on later this year. But I do believe the ceiling of Joe Anderson Brito is number 10, number 9, just right inside of the top 10, kind of gatekeeping this area. I believe him. He's going to be kind of that Dan Ige sort of figure in the UFC featherweight division, right inside the top 10, right outside the top 10, just kind of bringing in the new prospects. That's kind of where I see Joe Anderson Brito being. Not a title challenger, not a top 5, top 8, but 9, number 10 in the featherweight division. Still a future top 10 guy, in my opinion, in Joe Anderson Brito. Should be an interesting career coming up for him. Hinat Fakhretdinov, Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, I believe, is going to have some fun fights from here on out. I believe just set him up with other veterans in the UFC welterweight division. Kind of build the legacy, make some money, and then retire off in the sunset. He doesn't have any title aspirations at this point. He might. I mean, I don't know about Kevin Lee. He's one of those guys that's always going to have those title aspirations. But at this point, Kevin Lee's going to have to be worrying about those money fights in the welterweight division. Call out McGregor if you have to. I don't know. But for Hinat Fakhretdinov, this is another one of those guys I have high hopes for in the UFC's welterweight division. Let's check it out. Welterweight rankings. We got Michel Pereira, who I do believe Hinat will smash. Jack Della Maddalena, I think Hinat will smash. Ian Machado Gary, I think Hinat will smash. Why am I saying Mikael? Michael Chiesa, I think he beats. Neil Magny, I think he beats. Vicente Luque, I think he beats. Sean Brady, I think he beats. Jeff Neal, at this point, I think he loses. Stephen Thompson, I think he beats. Shavkat, I think he loses. Gilbert Burns, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he wins. Hamza, I think he loses. Bilal, I think he wins. Colby, I think he loses. Usman loses. And Leon Edwards loses. So there's a very, very high proportion of this welterweight division I believe Hinat Fakhretdinov will beat at this point. At this point, the man's 31 years old, and at this point, I think he beats a lot of the guys in the top 15 of the welterweight division. I believe they give him a top 15 guy next, whether that's Neil Magny, whether that's the loser of Vicente Luque, Rafael dos Anjos, maybe it's Michael Chiesa right there, maybe it's Sean Brady, whoever knows what the next fights are going to be for Hinat Fakhretdinov, but right now he's at number 28 in the welterweight division rankings. Obviously, he should be so much higher in the UFC welterweight division. Personally, I think a good fight would be loser of Kevin Hall and Michael Chiesa, or loser of Vicente Luque, Rafael dos Anjos, and I believe the future and the ceiling of Hinat Fakhretdinov is title challenger. I believe that is the ceiling of my guy, Hinat Fakhretdinov. I got high hopes for him. His striking, like I said in my prediction, is nothing to be scoffed at. Everyone thinks he's a wrestler. Everyone thinks he's a grappler. This dude has hands. He knocked down Brian Battle in that fight. He knocked down Kevin Lee in this fight. He has striking. he has hands, and he just so happens to be a very, very high-level wrestler. I got high hopes for this man. Future title challenger, Fakhretdinov. I don't believe he becomes champion. I believe there's going to be someone able to defend those takedowns and just be slightly better in the striking, but high hopes there. Bruno Ferreira versus Nursultan Roziboev. Bruno Ferreira, his ceiling's going to be right outside of the top 15 of the middleweight division, just kind of having barn burner banger fights in the middleweight division. Just put Bruno Ferreira on every single pay-per-view you possibly can, just to have another exciting fight for the pay-per-view. That's kind of the realm and the future I see for Bruno Ferreira. But for the fight itself, Bruno being the much smaller guy right there, 7 inches in height going to Nursultan Roziboev, who was able to catch a kick in round 1, land a good shot down the middle, few ground and pound shots, and finish Bruno Ferreira as a 2-1 underdog. He is 29 years old. You heard me correct. 29 years of age is Nursultan Roziboev. And I'm going to be dead honest here. After that performance in the UFC middleweight division, he's very live to fight guys like Chris Curtis, to fight guys like Nasruddin Imavov, Andre Muniz, Kelvin Gastelum, a lot of these guys in the middleweight division. I think he poses problems to, for sure here after that performance against Bruno Ferreira. I do believe he doesn't deserve a top 15 fight. I mean, he's 1-0 in the UFC. Let's not be too hasty to give him a top 15 guy at this point in his MMA career. There is Edmund Shabazian, which I would say would be a very, very fun fight for the main card of a UFC fight. Now, there is Phil Halls, a guy that gets knocked out a lot and has been used for a lot of people to get inside of the top 15, like Chris Curtis, Roman Delice, and Ikram Aliskerov. And then the last guy is going to be, let's see if I can find him, Bruno Silva, who is a teammate of Bruno Ferreira as well, coming off a loss to Brendan Allen on short notice. So those are the 3 main guys I'd say would be next. For Nursultan Roziboev is Bruno Silva. It is, where did he go? Edmund Shabazian, or it is Phil Halls. All of those guys get finished in a lot of their losses. So that could be another highlight for the reel for Nursultan Roziboev, and a good test for Nursultan Roziboev as well. If he wins that one, I'd say give him someone right outside the top 15, one of the gatekeepers like Brad Tavares. And if he wins that, he's 3-0. Give him a top 15 guy. I do believe the future of Nursultan Roziboev at 29 years of age, I would have to say is top 10. Top 10. I don't believe he gets top 5 because he's so tall and lengthy. A lot of the more powerful guys, stockier guys, could be able to land on the chin. Like Dricko Duplessis, probably knock him out. Whitaker even probably knock him out. A lot of the shorter, stockier guys, I believe, could land on Nursultan Roziboev and knock him out. But I believe the ceiling of Nursultan, top 10. And he's got a lot of good fights ahead of him inside of this middleweight division. Benoit Saint-Denis, Ismael Bonfim. I still believe Ismael Bonfim is a future top 15 guy in the UFC's lightweight division. For the reason being that a fight with him and, let's just give an example, Matt Frevola, I'd say is a 50-50. Renato Moicano would probably be a very, very close fight. I think he loses that one. Damir Ismagulov would be a 50-50. Grant Dawson, he probably loses. There's a lot of fights that are still very, very close here for Ismael Bonfim. He's only, 27 years of age, still very, very young in the UFC lightweight division. I still have his ceiling as a top 8 UFC lightweight contender. For Benoit Saint-Denis, it's the same thing. He is also 27 years of age, only losing up a weight class in the welterweight division on short notice to Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I still believe, before this fight, I had his ceiling as just a regular old top 15 guy. Get right inside the top 15, get right outside of it. But after that performance, his striking definitely has improved. I would peg him also as a future top 8 contender in the UFC lightweight division. Starting off this fight, Benoit Saint-Denis landed a bunch of left body kicks on Ismael. Ismael started landing some good knees, ended up rocking Benoit Saint-Denis with a few punches as well. Early on in round number 1, Benoit was able to get in on a double leg takedown and switch that into a takedown, get on top of Ismael Bonfim. Ismael tried to get up, but in the meantime, Benoit Saint-Denis was able to get the back, pull him down, get the body triangle in, and work on that rear naked for about a minute, minute and a half, sunk it in. Submission round number 1. There's only 12 seconds left, so who knows? If it would have gone to round number 2, I actually would have thought Ismael would be better able to defend the takedowns with the sweat and be able to outstrike him in those later rounds, but I still believe both guys are future top 8s, top 10s in the lightweight division. Still huge. I mean, what is this? This is still the prelims here. Or sorry, I'm wrong about that. This is the main card, but still. We've gone from Alexander Romanov, I would say, probably could be able to get right inside of that top 10 in the UFC heavyweight division. Luana Carolina to be right outside the top 15. Same for Ivana Petrovic. Elvis Brenner to be a future title challenger, top 5 lightweight. Kutateladze, future top 15. Carol Rosa, future top 5. Joe Anderson Brito, future top 10. Fakhretdinov, future top 5. Nursultan Roziboev, future top 10. And Ismael Bonfim and Benoit Saint-Denis, both future top 8, top 10 in the UFC lightweight division. That's already just so far. We still have 4 fights left. Oh my gosh. The next one, a lot of people thought Melissa Gatto won. Some people are saying Ariane Lipski won. I still believe both girls had the skills and had the skill. I just said that. Had the skills and had what it takes to get inside of the top 15 of this women's flyweight division. 27 years old and 29 years old. Number 28 ranked Melissa Gatto, and Ariane Lipski is at number 31. I still believe they have a lot of time to improve and make their way into right inside of the top 15, but neither girl do I expect to be a future champion or anything. I'd say number 13, number 14 would be the ceiling for both girls here in the flyweight division. I didn't really watch most of the fight. I was watching like glimpses of it, but I did understand that it was a very, very close fight. A lot of people thought Melissa Gatto won. A lot of people thought Ariane Lipski won. But still, I think both girls, based off their past performances, do have what it takes to make it right inside of the top 15. And again, this is just another fight on this card where I believe they have what it takes to be future top 15 fighters. Michael Morales and Max Griffin. Max Griffin is going to be journeyman, gatekeeper of the welterweight division. That's pretty much what he's been doing for a while now, but he had a really close fight with Neil Magny a little while ago, who's in the top 10 on Tapology and on the UFC rankings. Where are they having him at? They have him at number 11 on those UFC rankings, even though, you know, he has a win over number 8, Jeff Neal. And yeah, I do believe Max Griffin right now is just going to be the gatekeeper. A lot of these up-and-coming welterweights, like Michael Morales, maybe like Mike Mallet now, maybe a Brian Battle, maybe a Joaquin Buckley in the welterweight division. I believe Max Griffin's just going to get fed to a lot of these up-and-comers to get their name built off an established veteran in Max Griffin. Max is not a guy that gets finished. He's a guy that's used to test the up-and-comers. He's used to test these guys that are working their way into the top 15. And this was the test. This was a huge test for Michael Morales. He didn't pass it with flying colors, but he did pass the test 15-0, undefeated in the UFC, knocking out Trevin Giles and Adam Fugit, and winning that decision on Max Griffin. On Tapology is at number 39. But again, I mean, Max Griffin is at, what was he at? Like, what was Max Griffin at? Was he like top 25 in the welterweight division? Number 29 in the welterweight division. So now we gotta play matchmaker. Then I'll say what I think the ceiling of Michael Morales is, because the man is 24 years of age. He's got a huge, huge future in him in the UFC's welterweight division, but we gotta find an opponent. We do have to find an opponent. Daniel Rodriguez makes a lot of sense, because a lot of these guys outside of the top 15 are coming off wins, Gunnar Nelson, Jeremiah Wells, Nicholas Dalby, Elizabeth Zaleski. A lot of these guys are coming off a win. But D-Rod has been finished in his last 2 fights by Neil Magny, ranked. Ian Machado, who has been ranked. And he himself has been ranked in the top 15 of the UFC welterweight division. This is kind of right outside the top 15. A good test for Michael Morales. He's 3-0 so far. A good 4th win. Could get him inside of the top 15 in my opinion. If he's able to beat Daniel Rodriguez, that'll kind of set him up for like the loser of Michael Chiesa, Kevin Holland, the loser of Michel Pereira, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, the loser of whoever Jack Della Maddalena fights next. I believe that'd be the next step. A D-Rod versus Michael Morales fight. And for the ceiling of Michael Morales as another big prospect and another future contender on this UFC fight night filled with future prospects, title challengers, contenders, ranked opponents, I do believe Michael Morales' ceiling is Gilbert Burns, number 5. I believe he'll get one main event in the UFC welterweight division. He'll lose that main event to a nice veteran, like maybe a Gilbert Burns, maybe a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I believe he'll get a main event at one point in his career and lose that one, build himself back up, win a main event, then lose a main event, and then kind of coast around the number 6, 7, 8 range of the UFC welterweight division. I do not expect him to become a future champion in the UFC welterweight division. There's a lot of holes to be filled for Michael Morales, in my opinion, but he's still very bright. He's still very bright, showed a lot of good striking, good takedown defenses sometimes, good takedown offense as well, able to land some trips and throws on Max Griffin, showing his versatility in this fight. But again, I don't think he's going to get past some of those guys later on in his career that had that relentless pace like a Colby Covington, that had the strength and the size of a Hamza Chimaev, the well-roundedness of guys like Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I do believe he'll get into that point where he's fighting in main events and contending to be close to fighting for that belt. I don't expect him to be a champion. I don't expect him to be fighting for a belt, but I expect him to get very, very close to that. And beating Max Griffin is a good test to get him on the right track to a future main event title type fight in the future of his career. Next one, we got co-main event time. Yawn, ladies and gentlemen. This was not that good of a fight. 20 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. We got to admit Grant Dawson is a very, very good prospect. Not even a prospect at this point in his MMA career, but we got to be honest at this point. Was that fight a good fight? Was the Jared Gordon fight, was the Mark Madsen fight a good fight? No, but we have to sit down and say, is this dude a legit up-and-coming lightweight prospect? And that is a total yes in my book. He's 8-0 inside the UFC. We're not going to talk about the draw to Ricky Glenn, which was a horrible, horrible look considering how bad Ricky Glenn has looked after that, getting knocked out by Chris Jojagos in a minute 35. Aside from that, the dude dominated Damir Ismagulov, a guy that has only been in like close fights with Arman Tsarukyan and a close fight earlier in his career with Ramazan Ezembayev. He just went out there every single time, landed the takedown immediately to the back and trying to fish for that rear naked choke submission. And I know we got a huge raid in the chat right now, which is crazy. But he was really searching for that rear naked, but as soon as I can see Damir just doing this and really not trying to get up. I mean, it's round 3. You got 2 minutes left, and you need to get up. You're down 2 rounds to 0. You need to get up. You need to throw some sort of offense to win this fight, and Damir's just not doing anything. He's not putting out any risks, and that's not totally all Grant Dawson's fault. A lot of people are like rating on Grant Dawson right now, saying, oh my god, he's such a boring fighter. Half of the blame has to go to Damir Ismagulov. Damir is doing nothing to get back up to the feet. Absolutely nothing. He's sitting there with Grant Dawson, just keeps on putting on the body triangle, landing little tip taps and looking for the rear naked. And Damir Ismagulov playing the same role in making this a boring fight, doing nothing to get up. Defending, putting like this, defending, pushing it over the chin over and over and over again, doing absolutely nothing to get up from the takedown. Absolutely nothing, and that is why the fight was boring. It's not that Grant Dawson was just getting the takedown and controlling the fight on the ground. He was working to get that finish, working to get that submission in round number 1, but it just was not able to happen. And I mean, Grant Dawson was searching for that finish, but Damir Ismagulov is one of those guys that does not get finished. Every single loss in his career: decision loss to Arman, unanimous. Decision loss to Grant Dawson, unanimous. Ramazan Ezembayev, who I've never heard of, was a unanimous decision. And I'm going to go over to my second Instagram account over here, which I did post a post about a day or two ago with Grant Dawson legitimately coming out and saying, I am not going to go out there and get the finish. He flat out went out and admitted, I have no chance of going out there and submitting, no chance of going out there and knocking out Damir Ismagulov. This is the post. I will not finish Damir Ismagulov. Is a crazy, crazy thing to say for Grant Dawson. I mean, every UFC fighter wants to go out there to get the finish. And I'm sure Grant Dawson wanted to go out there and get the finish, but he went in going into the fight, which is making this not good on him at all, saying that he was not going to get the finish. But that's exactly what happened. Damir Ismagulov showed his submission defense and kind of survived that entire 3-round backpacking of Grant Dawson in that fight. Was able to survive and not get submitted. And Damir Ismagulov, I'm going to say, should go back into retirement. That's 2 losses in a row. Only a split decision on Kutateladze, who we just saw got knocked out in round number 3. I'd say Damir should retire. And Grant Dawson, the ceiling of Grant Dawson now in the lightweight division, I'm going to have to say, let's go, how old is Grant Dawson? Let me see. He is 29 years of age. So I'm gonna go, the ceiling would be number 6, number 7. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 main events of UFC fight nights. A few like main card of pay-per-view fights with guys like Mateusz Gamrot, and then I believe Grant Dawson is going to retire. I don't believe he's going to get in the top 5, challenge for a title, because his striking really is not there. But Neil Dariush would have better striking. Chandler, better striking. Fiziev, Saryukian, Gamrot, Gaethje, Poirier, Oliveira, Islam, all of these guys have better striking, and therefore I would say would beat him. So I'd say his ceiling would be right outside of that top 5, a few main events, and then he's probably going to retire. But again, that's another high ceiling guy on this UFC fight night. Main event, Abus Magomedov, Sean Strickland. Abus, I don't see his ceiling being very, very high. Maybe he cracks the top 15 at some point in his MMA career, but I think Sean Strickland, his ceiling's probably a title fight with Israel Adesanya at some point. At some point, they're going to do it, because Izzy is just continuing to clear out this middleweight division. And Abus Magomedov, again, like I said, he's probably going to have a few good wins outside of the UFC top 15, get his way back in the top 15, maybe be like number 14, number 13, lose a fight, win a fight or 2, and then retire from the UFC. That's kind of the career I see for Abus Magomedov. But for Sean Strickland, I believe he's got a chance to at least challenge. He's not going to beat. He's not going to at all going to beat Israel Adesanya, but Pereira's moving up to light heavyweight. Whitaker has already lost twice to Israel Adesanya. Jared Cannonier's lost to Israel Adesanya. Vettori has lost twice to Israel Adesanya. Costa has lost to Adesanya. Duplessis is about to lose to Robert Whitaker. And at that point, they might have to do Robert Whitaker, Jared Cannonier 2 for a UFC Fight Night main event, and I would not be surprised. I mean, it'd be weird considering Strickland lost to Jared Cannonier on that UFC Fight Night main events. It would be weird, but there's a very out of there random prospect that maybe Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, UFC 293 main events if Robert Whittaker beats Dricko du Plessis, takes a little bit of damage, and is unable to be in that main event, I highly doubt they'd want to do a Jerry Kennedy rematch. They might actually give Sean Strickland that main event. Not saying he deserves it, but there's a very good possibility that could happen. And even if that doesn't happen, I do believe they could give him Marvin Vettori. Never mind. They train with each other. They could give him Robert Whittaker or a Jerry Kennedy rematch in the future. I don't know. But I do assume the fact that Israel just continues to clear. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. He's already beat, and Dricos is probably going to lose. He's beaten number 5 as well. They're probably going to have Sean Strickland get a title fight at one point or another in this middleweight division. And at that point, I think he loses, becomes a journeyman, and then retires from the middleweight division. And again, I didn't really talk about the entire fight, but round 1, Abus was landing some good kicks, some good knees. The eye poke was early on in round number 1. Round number 2, or actually, let's stop it a little bit earlier before that. The end of round number 1, Sean Strickland started coming on the front foot, putting on the pressure towards Abus Magomedov, landing some good shots, and then the round ended. And I saw Abus take a big breath at the end of round number 1. Personally, I put $500 on Sean Strickland plus 100 on DraftKings on that live bet because I saw Abus was gassing out. Sean Strickland has 4 more rounds to go, and the dude has crazy good cardio. And come on, Abus Magomedov gassed out in round 2. I understand gassing out in round 4, round 5 if it's your first main event, but the man gassed out in round number 2 is absolutely insane. Sean Strickland pouring on that pressure, did not completely go for broke on it. Hurt him on the feet, landed some shots, stay back, landed some shots, stay back, landed some shots. Was able to land one good right hand, knock him down. Bop, bop, bop. A lot of big ground and pound shots, and Herb Dean was forced to stop the fight. It was a great card. A lot of good finishes. Sean Strickland with a second round TKO. Benoit Saint-Denis, first round submission. Nursultan, first round TKO. Henat, round 1 guillotine. Joe Anderson, round 1 TKO. And Elvis Brenner with a round 3 knockout. Even the decisions were pretty decent. Alexander Romanov, Blagoy was a good back and forth striking battle in that fight. The Michael Morales, Max Griffin was a very good one. Great Dawson, yeah, I know. But still, Strickland, future title challenger. Grant Dawson, future top 10 at least. Michael Morales, future top 5 probably. Ariane Lipsky and Melissa Gatto, both probably top 15s. Ismail Bonfim, top 8. Benoit Saint-Denis, top 8. Nursultan, top 10. Henat Fakhretdinov, title challenger, top 5. Joe Anderson Brito, top 10. Carol Rosa, top 5. Elvis Brenner, title challenger in the future. Alexander Romanov, top 10. Kutateladze, top 5. We got a lot of high hopes for a lot of these fighters on this UFC Fight Night. Thank you guys for watching this live stream in the UFC Fight Night Strickland Magomedov results. Let's check the comments. Alrighty, then there's a lot of comments because we got rated. Blagaway so dog shit. I know. Rosa at plus 400. Nice. Very nice. Guru is talking about you. Interesting. Guru raid, Guru pig raid. What does he have against you? I don't know. You're about to get raided. Oh, wow, you live in a hotel. No, I'm at Disney World. Guru raid, gonna be raided. Guru raid, Guru raid, Guru. Bert MMA chat, MMA Guru raid. Everyone's just saying the word raid over and over and over again. Wow. Wheelchair Army has arrived. Jerusalem Sup by Ninja. Okay. Fat Boy Raid. That makes more sense. Are you live? Yes, I am live. I am live indeed. Motel Stream, lol. Of course. Look at your chat, dude. Oh, Amar Bolden with a $5 donation. I didn't even see this one. Thank you for the $5, Amar Bolden. I am not making much money on this YouTube channel at all lately because I haven't really been posting much lately. 13-year-old named Bert. My name is Robert, but I am 16 years old. This isn't live. What the heck? Yes, this is live. Yes, this is live. Nah, this kid ain't live. Yes, I am. Yes, I am indeed. Recorded stream. They really think I am not live. Wow. Wow, indeed. He fumbled the bag. Fake stream. No, it's not. No respect for the chat, huh? I'm doing a result video. Gosh, dang. Pre-recorded. No, it's not. This is a recorded stream. Is literally a reaction to UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Magomedov. How would I do a reaction to the card beforehand and not live? Bro, come on. Come on. Doesn't even read chat. I'm doing a reaction. Bert, look at the chat. I'm begging you. Fumble the bag. Wow, I did fumble the bag with all these L's in the chat. Are you live, Bert? Yeah. Yes, I am. Yo, guys, chill. Bert exposed. Everyone dislike stream. I probably got a lot of dislikes from this one. Probably got a lot of them dislikes. Fool of a thing. He just doesn't stop talking. I'm trying to do the reaction. Oh my gosh. Could have had more than $500. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. Alright. It's not about the money. We're not in here for the money. We're in here for the reaction. We're in here for the results of UFC Fight Night Strickland Magomedov. It's not a Q&A live stream. If it was, I would be reading chat. But I did not expect to be rated, and I'm trying to do a results video, my guy. Come on. Come on. Oh, my God, this is so sad. Watching him read the comments after I thought it was a fake live. Oh, bro, please keep your phone with the comments open next time. Literally, my phone was turned off because there was no one commenting. There was literally nobody commenting. Gotta have a disclaimer, bro. A disclaimer that is not live when it's a live stream. Goddamn. Gosh dang. Yeah, I did miss like the entire raid. The entire raid. He said huge raid in chat. Is Guru live or something? Is that why I got raided? Let me see. MMA Guru. The MMA Guru. I didn't even see. He's not even live. Stream. Oh, he was live 13 minutes ago. So that's probably when the raid happened. Was like right at the end of his stream, right? Let's see. When did the Guru raid start? I don't know. It doesn't show the time. But yeah, I literally just wanted to do a UFC Fight Night Strickland Magomedov results video. Did not expect to be rated there. Interesting. That you read the comments at the end of the stream. Yeah, I always read them at the end. And he did a poll between you and Rico. Me and Rico. Rico MMA. A lot said you, a lot said Rico MMA. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry, but it is 10:48. My parents literally walked in here about 5-10 minutes ago because we're in a hotel at Disney World. I got to give them, some space. So we will be live tomorrow with some MMA news, some full card predictions for UFC 290, confident picks, betting breakdown, underdogs of the card. We got a lot of stuff in line for tomorrow's live stream, and I promise everyone that's watching, I know there's not a lot anymore because the raid is over, but tomorrow's live stream, I will be reading comments. I'm sorry, Guru chat. I'm sorry, but thank you guys for watching. I do have to let my parents get some sleep because they were trying to get in here, but I was trying to finish up the live stream, so sorry to mom and dad if you're watching the live stream. Most are over there now. It's 3:48 in the UK, but I'm crying laughing. Gosh dang. Dude, I looked at, there's so many L's in the chat and so many dislikes. I gotta check. One sec. Let me see this. Let me see if it shows like how many dislikes there are. Let me see. It might show. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the live stream. I'm going to have to end it so my parents can get in here. Just have to check one last thing. If the Wi-Fi is good, which the Wi-Fi is kind of ass right now. All right. 1 second. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that raid. Just want to check how many dislikes there were. Because I bet it was a lot. 273 viewers. I don't know if it shows the likes or not. It doesn't even show the likes. Alright, well that's kind of stupid. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Sorry about not